Merry Christmas, you filthy animal. And a Happy New Year.
Layer number 1.
Welcome to Press and A Bun to Continue. My name is Keith, the boy who asked Father Christmas for a new Buzz Lightyear action figure and a Game Boy, but ended up with a vibrator and a Playboy. And of course, I'm joined by my frisky co-host Nisha. Some say his favourite Christmas was playing Pokemon, but unfortunately as an adult, the only pocket monster he has lives in his pants. From flicking the Beanie Babies to tickling my Elmo, we had some glorious raunchy Christmas toys. How about the inception of your sleep paralysis demon? A Furby on low battery wailing at 4 a.m. Feed me, I love you. But enough of that, let us warm your nostalgic heart and sit next to our roaring, crackling Christmas fire, accompanied, of course, by your favourite Uncle Diddles who downed 3 bottles of Baileys. This is Press Any Button to Continue. Hey, baby.
That was a lot darker than I anticipated. That's just Christmas for you, though, isn't it?
It's just Christmas.
You never know what you're going to get with Christmas, do you?
That is, I mean, when all the family comes together, you get the good and the bad all in one. You know
Very true, very true. I'm recording downstairs today because it took us 600 hours to get set up, and I'm recording in front of a Christmas tree for the first time.
I'm recording in front of a Christmas tree too. Yeah, we've all got Christmas trees in front of us.
That's so cool. It's definitely given me the. Today I'm officially feeling it. Yeah, I think I'm finally getting into the Christmas spirit. Are you feeling it? Can you feel it right deep down in your plums?
2 for 1 at the farmer's market. I'm just after about like fucking 9 hours of my own recording stuff. So this is like. I was in bed when we started this recording, and then for some reason my laptop wasn't working. Nisha had to stay late at work, so like we're like 6 hours late trying to get this going. So I feel like that in turn has the Christmas spirit in it. You know what I mean? You wake up in Christmas morning, your mum is screaming in the kitchen because the cousins are coming over, and she's only just put the fucking chicken in. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, do you know, she just looks at you like you're a useless piece of shite, and the sweat, do you know what I mean? The hot flashes are overcoming her. The heat of the kitchen, you know, the extractor is going 10 out of 10. You know, there's as I said, poor old fucking Uncle Timmy McGee is fucking absolutely ploughed at 9 in the morning on his 4th bottle of Baileys now at this point. There's a fight about to unfold.
There is. It's a glorious Christmas day. I remember one time we were getting ready. So every Christmas day for me, you know, just going around visiting families. But for dinner, we'd always go down. My granny and granddad would cook Christmas dinner. But I remember one day we were rushing to leave the house, right, when I was a kid, and someone had got me some aftershave for a Christmas present.
Sure.
And I my ma couldn't find her keys, the car keys or something like that, and she was fucking freaking out looking in the hall cupboard, and I was trying to, like, you know, brighten the mood a little bit. I was like, oh man, could you smell this lovely aftershave? And while she was looking in the hot press, I just put it in front of her, and didn't I spray it right in her fucking eyes and pepper sprayed her. And she fucking lost the plot, man. She fucking freaked out. And I was only a kid, like I didn't know what to do, because she was already wound up to the fucking nines, man, you know, as can happen on Christmas. And I was like, this will make her feel better. It made it like 10 times worse.
You blinded your mum. You basically
pepper sprayed.
Your mum was already losing her mind, and you just pepper sprayed her. You're like, don't move, get on the floor, bitch.
Yeah, man, fuck.
Listen, I have a question for you, though. No, I have a question for you, right? Because I want to get it on in. You Christmas me now, right? We have stuff.
Yeah.
I want to know, like, when you were growing up, right?
Yeah.
I want you to describe a Christmas morning in your house. I want you to, like, take me to the kind of point where you wake up. I want to know, like, you know, the Santa experience. I want to feel it.
Okay, so I can remember being so excited for Christmas that I couldn't sleep. And myself and my brother Aidan would usually be allowed to, so there'd be a couple of presents underneath the tree, and we'd be allowed to open one on Christmas Eve. And I can remember opening one year. It was from my brother Aidan, and it was a fun facts. Do you remember the fun facts? So there was,
I don't think so, but it does ring a bell in my head, but it's just not jumping at me.
But I remember opening that up one time and just being blown away that this was Christmas Eve, and I was already like, oh my god, I fucking love this Christmas present. So then I remember getting so excited that I couldn't sleep that night. But then waking up the next morning, so how it would usually work is, so there was 3 of my siblings lived with me, okay? So there was my older brother Aidan, there was my younger brother Luke, and my younger sister Keelan. And just to dox my whole family there. Is that not doxing actually, is it? No.
It's just their
To know
names.
their name.
I think that's
Yeah, that's
the
all right.
basics.
That's fairly all right,
If
yeah.
you gave their address and their PPS number and like, you know, that kind of stuff, you'd be getting into little that territory. But generally using a person's first name is how we identify the masses. You're okay, I think.
Perfect. Yeah, that's okay. So how Santa Claus would set it up, he'd set it up in the sitting room, so we'd each have a section on the chair. Okay, so there'd be one side of the couch would be
Yes, I get
Aiden's
you. I
stuff.
get you.
The other side of the couch would be Keelan's, then one chair would be mine, and then Luke's would be somewhere else. And I do remember just oh my god, I'm actually getting the feeling, the warm fuzzies rushing, because I'm picturing my mind being blown at how much stuff was there. Oh, just that opening the door, you know, creeping into the sitting room, looking at the just the
It's almost like
of seeing everything
cause,
wrapped up.
because there is this essence of that, like someone broke into your house and left you
Yeah.
good things. It's like the
Yeah.
opposite of break. It's like the opposite of stealing. Do you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
So there's that really, like when you first walk into the room and the room looks different how you know it, because it's like you're seeing the presence. You're like,
Yeah.
and then you see something else in the other side of the room. Like, wait, what's that? Like,
Yeah.
the whole room is transformed by the presence. Like if they're
Totally.
wrapped, you know, it's like it's
Yeah.
a new place. It's like
Yeah.
it's like you've walked into a portal into the winter wonderland of whatever the presents are and stuff. Do you know?
Yeah, it's funny the way you put it like that, because that makes so much sense. I can remember going to bed and there being no presents there, and then you come down the next morning, you're like, what? They're all here. Like that was the magic of it. We were like, there was nobody here like a couple of hours ago. None of this was here. Where was it all? You know, Santa Claus brought it. And I can remember that, man. And then for me, it was always so my best friend at the time was Jono, and he lived across the road from me. And like we'd literally be up at like 5 o'clock in the morning, and I can remember I'd always look over to see was his sitting room light on. So was he up, and then like creeping out and being like, can I go over to see what Johnny got? What Johnny get? And then we'd go over and literally you'd knock on the door and you wouldn't say Happy Christmas. You'd be like, what you get? What you get? What you get? What you get?
Yeah.
What you get? Did you get a new Pokemon?
Give it to me.
Power Rangers?
Give it to me. I'll fucking kill you. Give it to me. I'll fucking break your face. Give it to me now.
Like that was literally, it was like, what did you get? What did you get? And that was the man. It was so magical for me. I've so many memories of that, creeping down the stairs. Sorry, that was a very long-winded answer, but I just got really excited talking about like bringing up those memories of the magic of it all. And then I can remember just opening it up, all of us just chilling out there, and then again we'd go around, might see a couple of bits of family and stuff, and then we'd always just cruise down to their grannies and granddads and stuff our faces and just have a nice day. Just have a nice day until you hit adulthood, and then Christmas is a cunt. Only joking.
Do you know what it is? It's the week before Christmas. I find is
Very
like
true.
you got
Very
like
true.
25 bajillion things to do, but then I still find that like I love Christmas. I love Christmas Eve. I think I love Christmas Eve in particular because it's the really what you feel. It's the anticipation is where a lot of the fun is. Do you know what I mean? Like a couple of disappointing one night stands, it's the anticipation you will look forward to.
True.
It's not really the
Very true, very true. And what about you? Can you paint a picture of your Christmas Eve when you are a kid?
I can for sure. Like, I mean, we've talked before, you know, we have a previous Christmas episode before we're kind of talking about presents. I think oddly enough we talked about funny ones we got that we were like, oh no, what were these? But I'll be curious to know some of your best ones in a minute. But yeah, so like I used to be unable to sleep as well. I remember, so it was me and my two sisters, Jennifer and Sarah, and in my house, like my dad fucking always like bigged up the Christmas. Do you know what I mean? So it was like we had a rule. It's like, what's the earliest we were allowed to wake up? Because obviously, you know, you wouldn't be sleeping. So like 6 a.m. right? That was like when we were allowed to get up. And so the image I always have growing up for all the Santa presents was I live in a 2-story house, so you'd have a stairs, right? And you'd walk down the stairs and you'd always see a door or a table blocking the door. So that's how it always was there, right?
What?
So there was like, so the door where all the presents were in the living room would be in, there was always a door blocking it, right? So it was like, you know, so no one would go in, right? So you'd hear someone opening if they were too early going down the stairs. So this is like a visual cue. So I'd walk down the stairs and I'd run in and wake up my sisters and be like, and they'd be like, what? And I was still in my Santa love. So, you know, they'd be kind of a bit out of that. So they were like, what's going on? Do you know what's happening? Yeah. And so we used to like run downstairs and we used to like pull the table away. And as I said, it was like I was being transported into a new new world, right? It was just like when we opened the room and the Christmas tree, and it was kind of dark. It's just before you switch on the lights. There's this moment of when you're flicking it on, you can kind of see all the new mysterious shapes. You know this isn't how your living room looked the night before, and then you flick it on, and there's that moment where your eyes are darting to each part of the room, and there's a different mystery and a different box, and you know, there's a whole light up experience of it. And obviously my folks will be there too, like watching us, you know, the classic Nintendo 64, you know, like that kind of video. So like I'll be looking at everything, and there's always that funny moment where everyone's watching you open your presents, and you're like, what you think of this? And you're like, I don't know, is it socks? Fuck my life, I don't know what I'm getting. But like that, there's just such that moment, not being able to sleep. I remember like as well, like, you know, the cookies and the carrots, and then finding half a carrot in the bin. I think you mentioned that in the last episode, did you? The last one too, yeah. But you know, there was such the magic there. You see, the thing is about it with my family as well, like to this day my dad is still full on Santa mode, you know what I mean?
Brilliant.
He's still the same. It's like, you know, everyone has to wait now till we all go down together, you know, there's no so we still completely, you know, when we're all there for staying Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, we go into Santa mode with it. But then my cousins would come over, you know, it would just be kind of like a nice family morning. My mum would be freaking out around the kitchen, which is half the fun. You'd be getting into your nice clothes, in inverted commas, almost like we're going to fucking
Christmas clothes, your
Christmas clothes, like you're almost going to fucking church or something, or what was the fucking shit. So you'd be going down, and someone would always got you some new pair of shoes that fucking they're like stiff like concrete, and you have to break them in. You'd be breaking your toes on the concrete shoes, you know. You'd always get some like cardboard fucking pieces of shit. And then there was always the dreaded moment where you're like, right, we have to go visit the other houses, and you're like, I'm not leaving the toys. Like, you must be, and like the torture. But you know what I remember the most, that I found to be the most torturous thing, right? So my family never really went to mass or anything like that, right? So in Ireland, obviously being like fucking big Catholic country and all that, like throughout the decades previous, you know, people would go to church all the time, but the only time we'd go was the Christmas Eve mass, right? It was like the fucking event, and the torture of fucking being in the Christmas Eve mass, like this, like I thought it was like 19 hours long. I kept imagining what Dragon Ball toys I have, what Pokemon toys I had, and I'd be listening to this old fucking cunt talking for fucking God knows how long about God knows what that I wasn't even listening to, and like the torture of patience. You know, Christmas reminds me of patience as a kid. And like asking a child to be patient when in their brain they can see their brightest future ahead of them, playing their favourite things, the things they desired all year, is like 10 hours away, and you have to do the most boring thing you can fucking imagine.
But you said about favourite toys, favourite gifts.
Yes.
Throughout the years, I do have one gift that stands out for me throughout my whole childhood, that this was the best, the Nintendo 64, without question. So I can remember the Christmas that we got the Nintendo 64 because myself and Aidan actually snuck it out and played it for a couple of hours one day and put it back in the box. My mum never knew, sorry mum. But that is the gift that I do remember specifically because, and I think I mentioned this in the last podcast Christmas special, because it's such a moment that's ingrained in my brain. So I can remember the Christmas that we got the N64, but I do remember that same Christmas my brother Aidan got like 5 copies of Americana, the album from The Offspring.
Wait, 5 copies?
Yeah, so like 5 different people got it for him. He got like a couple of tapes and a couple of CDs. That's great. And he got a Ghetto Blaster, and I can remember just sitting in the kitchen and we were playing pool and listening to the album, and then going in and playing the computer, and just that night, I can remember that night so well because of the N64, and Aidan and my cousin Kevin from Belfast all sitting there playing it. Like it was like a day or two after, but that Christmas of getting that N64, and I still have that N64. It was around 97, 98, I'd say.
So like a year after the N64 came out, kind of year or two. Yeah. There's something about the Nintendo 64, and I was saying it today on stream, that like I was playing GoldenEye today on stream, and a lot of people were like, you know, they're like, the N64 is their fucking like, is their Christmas console. You know, that's the what an unbelievable Christmas present. Like the power of a Nintendo 64 and 3D gaming. And what games do you say you got with it again?
As far as I remember, we got Super Mario 64, we got Diddy Kong Racing, I do remember that, GoldenEye, and I think that was it. Maybe Mario Kart, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a huge Christmas present, like.
like Super Mario 64, Diddy Kong Racing, GoldenEye, man. And I can remember Diddy Kong Racing specifically because that's one of my favourite games. But I can also remember being blown away by Mario and being like, oh my god, just looking at seeing this world in 3D and walking around, and it just fucking blew me away, man. Like the graphics, even at the start where you can play around with Mario's face, just
that was like such
blew
a
my mind.
such a graphical demo display of like what the Nintendo 64 could do. It was incredible. There was a couple for me, like I very much so remember like my Pokemon Christmas where everything was just Pokemon. So I think I got like a tiny CRT and I got some Pokemon tapes. And then I also got loads of Pokemon card decks. So I got the Psychic deck, I got the Water deck, I got the Ground deck, I got the Fire deck, right? They were all themed at the time around the different ones. Like if you look them up
around the
like
elements.
Argos magazines, you'll see the covers and the memories will blow your mind on them. So I remember I got like Alakazam and Mewtwo in those sets as well. And I remember there was also the Pokemon toys that used to come with the Master Ball, and it would be like, you know, it would have like Pikachu and Raichu, and it came in like it had a little see-through ball that you would get them in.
You actually gave me one of them for my birthday, didn't you? In that box for nostalgia.
It wasn't in one of those original balls, but yes, the toys and the red and white ones were ones I used to get in a news station magazine store later, that they had them with candy in them. They were different. Yeah. But like, I just remember that very specifically. Definitely, which I said before, which is getting the PS2 and Dragon Ball Z Budokai, because there was a big problem. Like the craziest thing in the world is how pop culture has changed everything. Like back when I was 7, 8, 9, you could not find Dragon Ball anywhere. I used to have to go to London to see my cousin, and he'd take us to like some sort of like black market store where they sold like fake Dragon Ball stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like to the point where the only things I get was like a wallet and playing cards. Like I would pick up anything Dragon Ball related. Like that's how fucking obsessed I was with it. So for when Dragon Ball Z Budokai was coming out, because Dragon Ball was on Toonami on Cartoon Network, they were like, right, they're making a PlayStation 2 game and it's coming to Europe. Do you know? So it was like, and it was PS2 exclusive at the time. It came in the GameCube later. I was like, I need it. Yeah. So that Christmas was a PlayStation 2 and Budokai, and I remember just like my mom used to do the homework with me every night, and we used to be fucking fighting like cats and dogs doing the homework. Do you know what I mean? I'd be like, fuck this oppression. Do you know what I mean? Like she'd be looking crazy. Yeah. I remember we used to be like either crying or like hysterically laughing at the amount of stress we put each other under doing the homework. Oh yeah. And I remember during those times she'd be like, right, I'm going out to the store there for a few minutes, have this done by the time I get back, and I'd sneak under the cupboard in the house we were staying at the time, and I saw the Budokai cover and the blue of the PlayStation 2 box, and I would just like be like, sweet baby fucking Jesus.
Was the game good? Is Budokai 2 or 1?
1 is the first one.
Right.
Objectively, is the game good? Probably not very good, no.
But did you enjoy it back then? Sorry.
I fucking loved it. Like I fucking loved it here. Like
brilliant.
That game is probably like fucking, I unlocked everything in it that you could do. I played that game like I was already role playing. Like I didn't care if I was just in a practice fight. I could be there for hours because I was role playing being Goku. I was role playing. I was making my own. It's like playing with toys, right? In a video game. Yeah. Like I had Goku and Cell. And I'd be role-playing the fight in my head of what I imagine they're doing and when they're powering up and when he turns Super Saiyan, you know, so I was just so invested in all that. And then Majora's Mask would have been another, like, big Christmas where I got a big white polar bear teddy as well, and I remember sitting on him playing, like, he was the size of me. I was sitting on him, and I put in Majora's Mask and I was playing it on my CRT in the corner. And what was really nice is a thing called parallel play, which I really, really enjoy, right? I think it's because I have a bit of a neurospicy brain. But I love doing something in the room where someone else is doing something else. So like I love, like, so say for instance, like if you like, let's say Joanne's reading like a book and you're like playing video games and you're both content but you're in each other's company. So like I fucking love that shit, right? Cool. It's like you kind of have company, it's cozy. And so I remember in my layout of the room, my parents had their TV on one side of the room and I had my little CRT in the corner. So they'd be just chilling out watching TV, and I'd just be in my tiny little square station, like my own little world, playing Majora's Mask at Christmas on top of my big white polar bear in the frosty festive mood, and they're probably having their glass of wine, and you just feel safe and cozy by the fire, you know?
So nice.
Yeah, so they're the ones that like come to my mind, which is funny though, because speaking of toys, I have a little list of some of the most popular Christmas toys
No
of
way.
the 90s that I thought might be a little bit of interesting ones to see which ones we both recognize together.
Yeah.
And maybe our listeners could chime in as well in the comments to see which ones maybe they had from these. So I'm going to so these are literally the top toys now, right? So like the number one toy of each years or different times in the 90s, okay?
Right.
So I don't have the specific years, but the first one I have is Stretch Armstrong.
I fucking knew you were going to go there, man, because that was such a huge one. And we had one. Aidan had one. I remember Aidan got one for Christmas one year. And I can remember specifically standing outside my granny's back garden and stretch out as far as we could go, and it just being so funny. It's funny, I can remember the texture of the Stretch Armstrong.
I had one. I really thought for me it was a shit toy. Like,
right.
I'm like very weird. Like, if I can't like play with it, like if a toy just has one function, which is pull it, I'm like, I can't like play with it, you know what I mean? Like, I can't imagine what circumstances this toy is going to be in, so it's not cool to me. But I did have one, and I remember it broke, and I remember the goo on the inside that would come out from it. Yeah, so I remember like whatever the material, stretchy material was. Now, sure, Jesus Christ, you know, time's going on. The only Stretch Armstrong now, we pull in the old Mickey, like, do you know what I mean? But like,
yeah, I always remember thinking, what's inside it? Like, what's the mysterious stuff inside? But I don't remember.
Dude, this is such a funny euphemism. Like,
what's
the funny stuff inside?
That's what
Merry Christmas, ho ho ho.
My childhood brain was thinking.
I'll splash through another ones with them.
Go on.
I mean, My Little Pony, My Little Pony.
Yeah.
Like, obviously there's a lot of cartoon related ones, so you would have had Transformers and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The next one on this list is interesting because I had a Pokemon version of this, and it was Polly Pocket, right?
Yes.
And do you remember Polly Pocket? It was kind of primarily like geared towards girls, and it was like, do you know how it opened at the center and you had all the mini things? But I had a Pokemon one, which was Professor Oak's lab, that opened up and it had a tiny Charmander, Bulbasaur and Squirtle, and I thought it was the fucking coolest thing ever.
Oh yeah. There was so Polly Pocket was the one that was geared towards girls. There was another one called Mighty Max that was geared towards guys, and I had one of them. And I had two of them actually. The one that I can remember is a snake's head. It was a green snake's head, and it's literally just like a clam-shaped toy that you open, and there's like a little world inside it. And I can remember playing with them for hours, man. And actually, do you know what I did? I remember getting a bootleg one of a Super Nintendo controller that opened up, and inside it was Street Fighter characters. And it was Blanca and Ryu. Yeah, I remember getting that in like a pound shop in Dún Laoghaire called Aladdin's Cave, which is in Dublin. Cool. Anyone very localised to me might remember Aladdin's Cave in Dún Laoghaire. But I'm fairly sure it was bootleg, but it was really fucking cool. So yeah, I do remember them. I really enjoyed my Mighty Max.
The Super Nintendo Entertainment System was obviously one of the hot gaming products of the 90s. Of
course, absolutely.
Pogs was a huge one as well, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Beanie Babies, which Mary Majora would be delighted of. Beanie Babies was like, they're worth a fortune, you must collect the right one, remember?
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
Buzz Lightyear and Woody from Toy Story, which made a little feature in the intro there.
Yes.
I remember getting a Buzz Lightyear, and they still have the same ones to this very fucking day. I mean, they're not altered much at all. It's like, it comes like in the movie, you know, the box is his spaceship, you know what I mean? Which I always loved as a kid, when the packaging like was part of the product. I always found that so fucking impressive. I loved that shit so much.
Do you know what's funny about that is that last year Santa Claus brought my daughter Woody and Buzz figures. That's kind of cool, isn't it?
And did Santa really bring that for you, though?
I have.
You were like, Santa, I've been a very good boy. I don't know about my daughter, though. She seems pretty bold for me.
Lump of coal for her. I'll look after the toys.
We also had Tamagotchi, which was like fucking everyone wanted a fucking Tamagotchi, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bop it, fist it, fuck it, fist it.
I remember the
which was which is the game where it just says bop it, you twist it, you tug it, you diddle it, you fiddle it. Lots of things getting you ready for later on in life.
The Nintendo penis there, or
no,
something else.
Well, if that's how you masturbate, Nisha, you're going to need to go to the doctor. Fairly fucking stat. That thing's probably like a useless husk at this stage. bop it, twist it, fucking mash it. Twist it, mash it, bop it. I was like, is this how I do it? Walking in a winter wonderland. Anyway, Tickle Me Elmo, which, I mean, again, this is why when I was reading through this list, I wrote this, like, outrageous. That every one of these toys were, like, a euphemism for some soxy good times.
Yeah.
What else do we have on in there? The Game Boy Color, Betty Spaghetti, the Furby toys, Teletubbies, Air Hogs toys, which I'm actually not familiar with.
Air Hogs? I don't think I know those.
Yeah. WWF wrestlers.
Yes.
Remember they had the old arenas and stuff as well. Power Rangers.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of them that would have made, like, of course, the cartoons at the time were a big influence.
Mhm.
And the Sony PlayStation, like, it's just a wild. There's so much good shit in there. Do you remember the fucking spinning dolls of death that you pulled like a cord and it was a girl's ballerina and it would spin up and they had to be recalled because they were like murdering people?
Oh, really? Yeah.
It's so funny as well because there was this one hilarious video that like makes me laugh so hard where a girl goes outside with her dad. She's like, Daddy, can we play it? You know that toy where you rip it and it spins?
Yeah.
And his dad was like, well, let's go for it. Rips it as hard as he can. And she starts flying up in the sky and she's like, oh my god, yes! And then it keeps flying up and up and then it just goes over several houses and it's gone. And she's just like fucking bawling.
Oh,
just like
no.
the moment where it's flying high in the sky and then it goes too far and they're like,
Yeah.
oh,
What have I done?
yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh man, I tell you, I mean, I'm sure we're going to end up doing an episode like properly on like 90s toys. I mean, it's probably a
100%.
given since we did 90s shows, so I don't
Absolutely.
think there's a need to go too much into them. So I do have to ask one last thing before we move into part 2 of the episode.
Okay.
What food did you have? Like, was it spiced beef? Was it like chicken, turkey? Was it potatoes? What were you rocking with? Like,
So this is my. Do you want me to plate you up my ideal Christmas
plate
dinner?
me,
Yeah.
plate me.
Have you got a plate there? Yeah.
Hang on.
Hold on. Yeah. Hold on. I'll get a plate for you. Don't worry. You sit down, relax there. Do you want a drink?
Yeah.
Do you want a glass of wine? Yeah.
What else do you have on offer?
Baileys, whiskey, other alcohol-related substances. Guinness.
I'll have a hot port, please.
A hot port? No problem. Right, there's your hot port. Give me that plate. Right, I'm going to plate you up my favourite dinner, my ideal dinner, and it is mashed potatoes, right? I'm going to say at least a third of the plate is mashed potatoes, alright? We're going to have stuffing, some sage and onion stuffing, carrots and parsnips, some onions, and then a bit of turkey, and then loads of gravy, like drown that bitch in gravy, and some roasties as well, or what do you call them, roast potatoes.
Roast potatoes, yeah.
Roast
potatoes. Roast potatoes, dinner rearrange.
Basically all potato, like 50% potato. I'll rock
That's
50% potatoes, and that's me. And then I'm all set. So
like the thing about us in the morning, it was funny because we had to like my mum would be up and she'd be making like fucking cocktail sausages and pigs in a blanket and fucking bacon wrapped and cheese, like, you know, those little small bitey bite things you'd be getting in.
little nibblies.
So they're kind of the start of it, and then there'd be spiced beef, which I never liked myself. Now I'll be honest with you. And then there'd be some nice brown bread, a bit of McCambridge on in there, and there'd be some like just a selection of meats, like, you know.
Yeah.
But then the dinner would come along, and my mum at this stage now would be fucking 16 glasses of wine deep. Do you know what I mean? The fucking my dad got a fair bait, and like, you know, and she'd be fucking God knows what would be coming out of the oven.
Yeah.
But yeah, like definitely like the fucking tiders. Oh, sweet baby fucking God, like you just want to, like, you know what it is? Well, stuffing, man. And I'm not a man I like stuffing that's kind of in the crispy breadcrummy area of it, you know what I mean? I don't like it when it's a bit too mashy, you know. I want to kind of be crispy on it.
The top layer or something.
And then I just like squirt my the gravy all over into it, and I want to like fucking paint it like a Jackson Pollock painting, and then I just go, damn you bloody bitch! And then I down a couple of drinks and I fucking slap the fucking potatoes on my arse, fucking smeared in my hole. And then I go, and I sniff it and I say, Mamma Mia! And then I go, Merry Christmas to every single one of you, you filthy animals.
Sounds like an unorthodox way of enjoying Christmas dinner, but you know, each their own, Keith.
Have you ever known me to be anything but unorthodox?
No, you are. No. There's nothing orthodox. Is that? Wait, hold on. Unorthodox. What's does
oh
the
my
word
God,
orthodox
Nisha!
mean normal?
Christmas memory unlocked. Holy fuck, Nisha.
Go on.
The Christmas ads. The Coca-Cola. Or was it Kellogg's or Coca-Cola? Where the kid goes, "This is certainly unorthodox."
Oh
Do you know
my
the
God.
holidays are coming?
Yes!
Holidays are coming.
Holy
Oh.
fuck.
And they're going down. I'm not
That
sure if
is
it's the
weird.
Kellogg's or the Coke one, but yeah, saying unorthodox got me thinking of the Christmas
That's
ads.
so wild. Yeah. That
Ah.
that is after totally just clicking with me there.
Can we
That's
write
fucking
down
weird,
now
isn't it?
that for next year the goal of a Christmas episode needs to be Christmas advertisements that
Okay.
like, and we can listen to them and be like blast the memories, because that would be a fun one to do.
It's a great idea, man. So, what do you think about getting into our listener questions, our listener responses and stuff like that?
I'd be excited to do that.
about their favourite Christmas memories and also the days in between Christmas, which I think you so cleverly labelled the lost levels. The days in between Christmas and New Year's, what do you get up to when you don't know what way is up, what time it is, what day it is, and then just your favourite Christmas memories. I think it'll be nice to go through. But first, Aaron, my good friend Aaron, can we pause for a little interlude while we add to you our advertisement brought to you by ourselves?
Do you know what's wrong with us? We say advertisement. We say tis. I keep noticing this.
Oh, sure,
It's advertisement. Sure, tis. Sure, Jesus fucking Christ.
Sure,
Roll
Jesus,
the
it is.
tapes, please. Roll the tapes, Erlen.
Thank you so much for listening to Press Any Button to continue. If you would like to see more, you can find us on Instagram and X at Press Any Podcast.
Of course, if you want to catch up with our Discord, the link is in the show notes. This is primarily where we will ask you questions for future episodes and interact with our community. We do as well have a YouTube at Press Any Button to continue, where we're currently doing a Dragon Ball Z reactionary content. Of course, as well, we do have a Patreon where you can support us directly at patreon.com/Press Any Button to continue, where we have exclusive content and even some special stickers to send you if you sign up.
And if you like what you hear, please remember to rate, review and share the podcast, as it really helps us grow.
Now, no more diddle-daddling. Back to the show.
And we're back.
Hi.
So now it's time to get into the Christmas listener stories, right? And we're going to do the way we normally do it, the Nisha show. Okay, so I'll read
No,
one.
you know what? It's fucking Christmas, so today's the Keith show, and I'm starting off. You
Ooh,
close your
go on.
mouth there for a second, alright? But this is Santa time, baby. Santa
Hit
time
me.
is coming down there. You're fucking, Santa baby, fuck me under the tree, just me. It's not the Nisha show. Alright, here we go. Merry Christmas, Nisha. It's been a majestic year and a half with you. Alright, we got the first entry from Zanfan. And Zanfan says, "So I have 2 Christmas game memories for you guys. The first was back in 1990, and my parents got me a copy of Dr. Mario. After I was done opening all of my presents, I crack open the sealed game and get ready to go balls deep into the game. Sure, isn't that how we all did it? Sure, fucking balls deep. I opened the box and I dump everything out in one motion. Inside the box was a dozen cards to subscribe to Nintendo Power, the game manual, manuals for 2 unrelated games, and no cartridge." I'm like, guys, I think Santa messed up because there's no game inside. My mum was like, what the fuck? This is that time that I opened up Evolution for the Dreamcast from Santa, and underneath it said, "Bought at GameStop."
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, guys, I think Santa messed up because there's no game inside. My mum was like, what the fuck? And of course, it was a Christmas morning. It wasn't like we could do an exchange. Dad went to the store the next day and raised hell. They almost didn't give him a replacement because they were like, how do we know you didn't do it? My dad was like, does this face look like I'm joking? Needless to say, I got the game. I love the fucking anger dad there.
Yeah.
Needless to say, I got the game the next day and proceeded to play for all hours. Still a favourite of mine because I love puzzle games. The following year, I think I was opening up Christmas gifts and I get a copy of the NES game as Snake Rattle and Roll. It's like Marble Madness, but you're a snake and you get to eat balls that are on the screen. Zanfan, I'm starting to see a theory here of running testicles. That's my therapeutic intervention. I don't know what you think of that. Yeah, I know one way to describe it, but it's the truth, lol. Anyway, the copy of the game was used in one of those pink plastic protective cases that people used to buy to keep the games in. Now, I used to rent the game from the video store often, to the point where one of my mum forgot to return it for a few days. Apparently my mum went to return and was told that it would be cheaper to buy the game outright than return it because of all the late fees. Wait, can you just not return the late fees? Can you just not pay them?
Yeah. I've never heard
Interesting.
about that.
So for Christmas that year, I got the exact same copy of the game I rented the hell out of. I know that I have my reaction of opening the game on a home video someplace.
No
And
way.
I really need to dig it out because I want to say, I looked in the camera and said something like, "Mom stole this." Great memories. Fucking still have the cartridge. I love that. It reminds me because I have a Christmas tape of me saying, "I see you, baby, shaking that ass,
Oh,
shaking
really,
that
yeah?
ass," when I was like 7 or 8.
Oh, Man, that is what a song, by the way. What a song. But what some good memories there, Zan fan. I remember Mario Paint myself. What a fantastic game. Really, really enjoyed it. Mad to think that, like, how the parents would have navigated that, you know, in the moment, being like, oh, you know, Santa Claus just, you know, might have been just a bit too busy and forgot to put the cartridge in there. But don't worry, we'll go down to the store. He left a spare for you. You know, how would you navigate that?
It's like, don't worry, Mama's going to be seeing Santa Claus again tonight because she's not getting on so well with your daddy.
And then getting a copy of Snake Rattle and Roll is very, very cool. But that's a good question. If your late fees are so much, could you just buy the game outright? That's
yeah. Well, I guess
could
that's what they're saying. Like, here for an extra $5 you can just keep it or whatever. But I feel like that's not how stock works in the rental world. But I guess think about all the people working in those rental stores who are like, we don't give a fuck.
yeah, true. Very, very true. So the next one is from Lift. Hold on, Lift Thrastle. Is it Lift Harassle?
I always just say Lift, which we went for pints recently in Barcadia together. It was a lovely day.
Oh, really? Yeah. No way. Lift Rassel. Yeah, I'm just going to say Lift Rassel wrote in and said, one of my favourite Christmases was when I got my N64 with Ocarina of Time. I was so excited and I could barely wait to go to my room, plug it all in and play. Like that there, a Nintendo 64 with Ocarina of Time is just like the ultimate in my opinion Christmas gift that
but
a
you know
kid
what's
could
coming
get.
do you know what's coming to my mind with this is people don't understand back then that we built stuff up so much in our imaginations. Now you download the game, you play it. We had to look at magazine pictures and only imagine what the playing could be like. We had to imagine everything about it. There was so much mystery. There's no mystery left in stuff now because like you can literally watch the entire thing on a YouTube video. You can do whatever you want. Like, you know, it's just there's so much available to you. And like imagine plugging it in and flicking the Nintendo 64 switch with the light coming on and just not knowing what to expect, not knowing 3D graphics, not knowing fucking anything except that this is supposed to be the next masterpiece of a video game, and you have a new system, like, and all you had was still images to look at. Do you know what I mean? And then it becomes a motion picture. Like, there's just that magic in it, you know?
That's a very good point. That is a very good point. We used to just have to work, unless you might be lucky enough to catch an ad on the telly, which I don't remember a lot of video game ones myself.
And no one told you if it was good or bad before it came out. Like, there was no reviews constantly spit in your face. You were just it was just you and your friends playing it and saying, oh, this was fun, what do you think of it? You know, and you were completely left up to your own imagination. Now you're told like fucking 6 months ahead of time that like, disaster, don't expect anything good or whatever, you know what I mean? It's like you can make up your own mind.
And then think about how, imagine building up like the mystery and the magic of Ocarina of Time. Say you've seen a bit of it in your friend's house or you've seen clips of it, but then actually playing it, and for me anyway, thinking it was the greatest video game of all time. Like, that is absolutely incredible. So thanks, Lift Russell. And I'll just throw in there that Mr. Dave wrote his favourite Christmas memory is Christmas Gooch. So thanks, Mr. Dave.
Christmas gooch?
I don't know. So
is that like when you like spread your legs and you check out your gooch and you're like, Merry Christmas?
I really don't know. I'll have to ask.
The beautiful Gar, who sent us one of the most amazing packages and Christmas gifts that we ever got, and I would like to really place the emphasis on how phenomenal this was. So I've been eating, Nisha, and you better fucking catch up and grab some, but I've been eating all these Austrian sweets at the moment that are fucking gorgeous. They're making me fat. But Gar sent us a beautiful piece of fan art of saying press any Pokemon to continue as Nisha as a Pokemon trainer and me as Professor Oak, and it's up next to my piano when I'm streaming at the moment. I'm trying to get a hook for it at the moment.
Brilliant.
He also sent Nisha 3 Dragon Ball movies on VHS, which is just phenomenal. Also send Nisha a brand new copy of Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, sealed, ready to go for the PS4, which I think you're gonna fucking love.
I can't
wait. We do need to
excited.
figure out maybe a way we must record a little of your intro playthrough.
Yeah,
if
absolutely.
Soon I can give it to you and we can set it up.
Yeah.
I got some classics. I got Beyblades for the PS1. I got some PS2 games. I got Dragon Ball for the 360. There was loads of fucking sweets as well, and just a couple of retro bits for the collection and a lovely letter as well. You know, Gar is officially our #1 fan by a country mile.
Is he?
So listen to this. Gar has listened to the podcast for 6,000 minutes. Second place is 1,600 minutes.
What? What the hell? No way. That is insane.
I think Gar has like gone through the podcast like 4 or 5 times.
Good man, Gar. I appreciate it. Gar, a genuine and sincere thank you for the gifts that you sent over. Incredibly generous, incredibly thoughtful, and very much appreciated. And thanks for all that listening you're doing and all the support. Incredible. So thank you very much, sir.
Well, moving on to the message. I remember one Christmas I got Need for Speed Hot Pursuit. I remember that on 360.
Yeah.
Weeks before Christmas, I found where it was hidden. I used to play it when nobody was home. I was so stressed about getting caught, I didn't even think I enjoyed it. I also remember another year getting a bunch of Bionicles.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember Bionicles?
I do, yeah. I remember
the
the
Lego
ads, yeah.
with the masks and stuff. I loved Bionicles. And the Bionicle movie on DVD, which is very underrated. I remember that came on a square DVD I had for the PC.
Oh
And
yeah.
there was a Kinects craze of the late 90s, which gave Lego a real run for its money.
Oh yeah.
Every year, me and my sister and brother used to leave early to go to the early mass, just like myself, and then meet my parents afterwards at my grand's house, and we'd go to the later mass, double mass. Oh my god, death. Of course, we never went to the mass and just walked straight to my grand's house. Well, one year we both went to the same mass, but me and my siblings protested that we would still walk anyway, and we might see my parents in the church. It's safe to say the lies were over when we all showed up to my grand's 10 minutes after leaving the house. My parents tried to act like they had caught us, but my grandmother exposed them and told us they never went to mass. Oh my god, I love that. It's like the parents aren't going, the kids aren't going.
Yeah, brilliant.
Oh, and the grand's like, fuck you both.
Yeah.
For the games, I have very fond memories of playing Batman Origins one Christmas, as the whole game takes place on a snowy Gotham Christmas Eve night.
Yes.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Another Christmas, I remember playing the Futurama game, which really blew me away. A very expensive retro game, actually, by
Is
the
it,
way.
yeah? Oh, cool.
Well, it's about 60, 70 quid, yeah.
Oh,
it was one of
right.
the first games I played that had a cartoon style of graphics. Yeah, the cell shading. I wish I still had it, as it's pretty pricey now. Oh my
Yeah.
god. Oh
There
my
you
god,
go.
we're in tune.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
the movies, Nisha, you ready for this? For the movies, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, which I watched
best.
just for you. And the Batman Returns are high on the list. I'll always watch some Christmas specials with herself as well, ranging from Friends to Big Bang Theory, and let's not forget Father Ted, a Christmassy Ted.
Yeah,
An
very
absolute
good.
classic.
Yeah.
And let's not forget the goddamn selection boxes would always have them surgically opened and half the contents eaten before Christmas Day rolled around, and not being driven to the only petrol station open in the city because the batteries were in fact not included.
That's a really good shout from Gar about the batteries, man. Like, I can remember some of my friends getting like specifically remote control cars and having to charge the batteries on
Yeah.
Christmas Day. I mean, so like upset because the batteries took like 9 hours to charge on the
Oh
remote
man, they were
control
so
cars.
great. Now we have like AirPods that do 4 hours and half an hour charging. Do you know what I mean? It's like fucking insane. Back then it was literally 9 hours charging for,
Yeah.
I'm not joking you, 20 minutes drive.
Yeah. But National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, Gar, I did just when I thought I couldn't love you anymore, you go and pull this shit on me. Like my absolute favourite Christmas movie by a country mile is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I absolutely love it. I have some great memories there, Gar, and a great story. Keith, did you watch National Lampoon's last year?
I watched
for the
it
first
just
time?
for you. Yeah.
And what did you think?
I did enjoy it. I liked it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What's your favourite Christmas movie?
Fuck, jeez, this is hard. I mean, the Harry Potters are always like a nice Christmassy kind of
Yeah,
movie to watch. I also
are.
tend to watch Lord of the Rings in Christmas too, even though it's not
Yeah.
necessarily a Christmas movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like Home Alone, I feel like is a bit of a classic. But you know what I fucking love, and me and Emma just have such good memory of watching, is The Holiday with Jude Law and
Yeah.
Cameron Diaz and Jack Black
Mhm.
and the other one, and she goes to like a cozy cottage.
Kate Winslet.
Yeah. Kate Winslet goes to the cozy cottage, or Cameron Diaz goes to the cozy
The
cottage,
cottage,
and Kate
yeah.
Winslet goes to the fancy house.
Yeah.
And Cameron Diaz is just experiencing like the kind of country life, and
Mhm.
there's something very cozy about that
Yeah.
movie.
There is, yeah. It's a really good movie.
There's definitely some other ones that aren't coming to my mind now, but assuming we're lucky enough to have years of this podcast, there'll be plenty of Christmases to talk about
will.
Christmas movies.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, that was a great story, Gar. So the next one is from Plur Ninja.
Hi, Plur.
Plur said, my memory isn't the greatest, but I do know that I got my GameCube as a Christmas gift. Until then, I didn't have a console, and I would always go to my best friend's place to play games. This was the first year I had moved away, so I wasn't able to go over there anymore. So Mom finally caved and let me live my gamer life. It's so cool. It even came with the new Legend of Zelda game. Then in brackets it says TP.
Twilight Princess.
Sorry? Oh,
Twilight
Princess, yeah. Which to this day is still my favourite. Which was the first time I had owned a new game. I don't remember much of anything else that happened that year, but I can guess that I was dragged out, dragged to our normal family events, kicking and screaming because I just wanted to be on my new GameCube. I think it also came with Mario Kart Double Dash, which I still think is one of the best ones, and would love to see them try something like that again. Getting like the GameCube with Twilight Princess as your first console and new game and Double Dash is so cool. Like, I love Twilight Princess. I love the darker, imagery of Twilight Princess. I think it's a really, really great game, and the GameCube is a fantastic console. And then Double Dash is just a fun game.
Double Dash, like, is like, saying that, I agree. Like, this is why I still think we should have handheld and home consoles, because we could have a Double Dash 2 on a handheld easily, without there being people disappointed, because they're like, oh, this is an extra, they're just not going to do it on the same system though. I know, it's a shame. It is a shame, but it's such a fun game, such a very, very odd game, but great memories there. Thanks, Pro Ninja. Huskin Raider, my beautiful sex slave, as I like to call him, fellow streamer on the Twitches and the Kicks.
Oh, cool.
My favourite Christmas was when I got a Nintendo 64. The first game I fired up, Mario 64, at my grandparents' house, and saw all 64 bits of glory. I knew gaming was changing. I couldn't put down that weird three-handed controller for the life of me. I spent the whole day playing Mario 64, Cruising USA, Turok, and Star Wars Shadow of the Empire. Wouldn't have had the same feeling again until the PS2 came out, and my brother and I didn't play much video games together really after the N64. So that was my favourite Christmas.
Oh man, the N64 strikes again. What an incredible, the gift that keeps on giving.
Keeps on a creaming and a dreaming. Also
That's
very
so
sweet
cool.
that it's like, the N64 has a special place because he was still playing with his brother at the time.
Yeah.
But consoles after that, probably whatever happened in between, or growing up or moving on or whatever.
Yeah, I can, to be honest, it's kind of the same for me. So I can remember playing a lot of N64 with my brother Aiden, playing the likes of, again, Diddy Kong Racing. I can remember watching Aiden playing Diddy Kong Racing and being, spurring him on to try and beat WizPig because it's such a difficult game. So I can kind of relate there. So good. N64.
I'm sure Once Upon a Quest was saying too, like, all their early memories is watching their brother play games. I love watching people play games, like, in person. To this day, if someone comes over, I'm like, I'll watch you. I don't need to play, I'll watch you. I'm happy. Like, I get a lot of contentness out of experiencing it as a passenger,
Yeah, because you're watching them, especially if it's the game you've played and you've enjoyed. You're watching them experience something that you love, and they're enjoying it, and it's like you bond over that experience of watching them play it. So
and there's plenty of games I was too scared to play in the horror genre that the people would play for me too. So that was good as well. Very cool. So next one is from Dinner Dog. Good old Dinner Dog.
Dinner Dog wrote in and said, watching the Super Mario Bros. Movie on the Christmas Den on RTE2 Christmas morning. Man, I remember watching The Den, which is an Irish TV show. For anyone outside of Ireland mightn't know, it's like an Irish. There was a presenter and there was some like puppets and stuff. It was called Zig and Zag, and Dustin the Turkey. It's very, very cool. But I have a specific memory of watching the Super Mario Bros. Movie on Christmas Eve as well. So that's really cool. Then Dinner Dog continued and said, open the Super Mario All-Stars on the SNES big yellow box. Open the Super Mario Bros. All-Stars on the SNES console pack and firing up that bad boy Christmas morning. Like, what a great collection of games to have on Christmas morning. And that game for me really does bring a lot of magic. Even like Mario is like a magician. He has like a top hat, a magic wand. Yeah, it's that warm fuzzy feeling it brings. Thinking of playing that on Christmas morning. And then Dinner Dog said, getting the Super Mario World pin, and then in brackets says, don't know where it came from, and I wasn't of an age to be responsible for it. It was pretty cool, but lost over time. Can't find it on eBay, so only vague memories remain.
That's interesting. It would be nice to. But wouldn't it be cool if we did a series where we try and find people's old things they can't find find it on the internet. So like we do the research and find the product for them.
That'd be so cool. That'd be really cool. And then he said, Thomas the Tank Engine train sets used to chill with my boy Thomas and Fat Controller. Very, very cool. Opening up the purple transparent Game Boy Color and Pokemon Red to start my journey to become a Pokemon master and invade any device that had 2 AA batteries when I wanted to play more.
Oh my God.
So cool. Getting that purple Pokemon or purple Game Boy and Pokemon Red. Absolutely incredible.
And you're fucking
memories.
your poor mother out of fucking no vibrator left by her fucking table with all the batteries robbed as well. Absolute disgrace.
The battery thief strikes again.
Yeah.
Great memories. Thanks, Dinner Dog.
Miss Hatzer, my ham. My best Christmas presents that I vividly remember was my White Ranger Falcon Zord and the Megazord. Also
so
having
good.
the full Tracy Island from Thunderbirds.
Oh, very cool, man. The Megazord and the White Ranger Falcon Zord. So cool.
Just reminds me of your story of your disappointment of getting the White Ranger Zord thing. And
Yeah,
instead of it like being like the playable one, it was attached to a cord and
Yeah.
3 feet.
And it didn't basically. So I wanted a White Ranger Zord, and to be fair, my dad got it for me, but he got one that was attached to like a remote controller and it just walked. So you held it.
Yeah, you couldn't play with it.
You couldn't do it, and like what you were saying, you want the toy to play with. And I remember being so. I remember just being so devastated. But like he did, and it's terrible because he got what I asked for. He got a different version of it.
Version, yeah.
Oh, very good. Thanks, Miss Hatzer. Next up is Delta Sapphire, and Delta said, my favourite Christmas memory was from one when I was 7 years old, I think. I remember waking up and sneaking out into the living room.
Were you going to say
see-
wanking?
What? No. I remember waking up and waking up and sneak. You're after throwing me down, for fuck's sake. I remember waking up and sneaking out into the living room to see a bunch of Dragon Ball Z figures, along with 3 new VHS tapes of the anime. Not sure if it's obvious, but I've lived and died as a Dragon Ball Z nerd. And I remember just freaking out and accidentally waking up my parents because I was so excited to see the Super Saiyan Vegeta figurine. Oh, and there was also the Christmas where my brother and I got a Nintendo Wii and we spent the whole rest of the day just playing Wii Sports Bowling. Brilliant. That is so cool. Like,
Fuck.
the idea of those figures and the VHS tapes just warms my heart. And then
Super Saiyan Vegeta toy, like, it's just fuck. I need it in my life.
yeah. You have some really cool figures. Dragon Ball
I do.
Z
Now,
figures.
a lot of the ones I have left are like non-playable ones. They're kind of like statues or whatever.
Yes.
But man, I remember my next door neighbor was American, and I'm not joking you, this is an incredible story actually. So the day I got her, she was like, will you please try and find me a Dragon Ball toy in America, when she went over. So she'd go home for Christmas and she'd come back.
Yeah.
And her grandson was the same age as me, and I actually met him once or twice and we hung out together.
Cool.
Even when we were like 20 and 20 odd and stuff.
Oh, nice.
The day I came home from school, guess what episode of Dragon Ball was playing on TV for the very first time in the world?
Which one?
It's Goku turning Super Saiyan against Frieza, right?
Hey, no
And
way.
when I finished that episode, did my neighbor come over with was a Super Saiyan Goku Dragon Ball Z
fucking
toy.
way.
And I fucking lost
way.
my fucking shit. Now, the
So
toy
cool.
he was so basic. He had gold
Yeah.
hair.
Yeah.
Shiny gold hair, and he had his top would come off in like 2 pieces, like it would click onto his body and come off, and he just had arms that went up and down, and that was it. But I was fucking beside myself.
Yes.
Beside myself.
Oh, that is so cool, man. What a pivotal moment in Dragon Ball. So good. I fucking love Dragon Ball.
You can't understand it like you could, like you can understand it because you got close to understanding it by watching it for the first time.
And
But,
currently,
like, that Frieza fight was a whole year of school for me.
that's how. That's the bit that I can't totally grasp, because I'm watching it season by season. So I can't make sense in my head how you could watch it day by day. Like I can't. It just doesn't. It doesn't
That's
work.
what we did with
My
everything
brain
at the
just doesn't
time.
work thinking about it. Like it's fucking crazy. But great story there, Delta, and also
Love you, Delta.
playing Nintendo Wii Wii bowling.
I still think the Wii is one of the greatest systems.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about it, but like it's just the software is so fucking good. I do find the motion controls a bit fucking annoying. I don't know. I feel like the Wii and the Wii U is so much better than the Switch software. It annoys the fuck out of me. Anyway, story for another day. Mark the Mill, my beautiful Mark, my Kerry Mark. Me and Mark recently had a sleepover. We went to our local second-hand video game store and we spent €25 each on as many video games as we could, and we played them till 3 in the morning.
No way.
So what we did was we brought my backwards compatible PS3. We wore our matching the Toy Show pajamas.
Cool.
And we played Wii PS2 games till the early mornings of the thing. It was fantastic. Anyway, he said sorry for the novel. So I guess I'll just skip it, will I? The most memorable Christmas mornings I had started around 6 a.m. The first thing was to immediately put on Network 2 on the telly, so the Den TV was on in the background before I launched. This is going to be well written, I have a feeling. It's going to paint a picture here. Before I launched at my Christmas presents, Santa was also very good to include some form of chocolate, maybe a selection box in the form of a sticking picture or something like Malteser shaped in a Christmas cracker. But a memory I will always cherish starts out a bit serious, but it turns out happy, don't worry. So my uncle was working most of his life in London at the time. He used to come home for Christmas and stay next door at my grandmother's. We loved his arrival because he would bring us goodies. But because of him, we grew up with Disney films like Aladdin, because he would bring bootleg VHS tapes from the markets in London. Deadly. One thing that was guaranteed with the ritual, though, he would be stinking drunk. Unfortunately, this is part of growing up in Ireland for a lot of families. You see, the fucking intros I write, man, they're just they encapsulate the world. But I distinctly remember a Christmas in 2001 when I was 14, and this loops in with the retro gaming side of things. This was the Christmas I was finally getting a PlayStation 2. And I remember with it getting 007 Agent Under Fire and Gran Turismo 3 A-Spec. Now, Mark is a huge Gran Turismo fan, by the way, from this moment on. Cool. It was about 7 a.m. and the rest of the family were still sleeping. I was having the time of my life playing this amazing console. Next thing, there was a knock at the window. My uncle was there and called me out. He was clearly drunk again. I went outside and he puts his arm around me. I think the tops of the mountains in the merry countryside were covered in snow. He just pointed at the amazing scenery and he asked me never to forget how lucky we are and to appreciate these things. Part of me just wanted to get back to the warm house and play my PS2, but a big part of me actually cherished that moment. Even if the words came from an intoxicated person with problems, I'm glad to say my uncle has now been sober for probably coming up to 20 years.
Jesus Christ. Well, Mark, congratulations to your uncle. That is an incredible and not easy thing to do. So fair play to him. That's amazing. And really,
also,
really cool story.
I think a really interesting thing, that's what you talk about, like obviously in Ireland the thing, there's always a thing as well, like just because obviously, people have troubles and they have addictions and everyone has something, everyone has something. This is the thing people have to remember. It's not a moral judgment to everyone anyway, so even all those good memories you have and all, even having that is still a core memory, You seem like you seem like a good dude regardless, and I'm glad he was able to, get over that as well. So that's it's a win-win all round, right? It's a win-win 100%. All round.
Yeah, very, very cool.
Mark also said forgot this picture, which has a Cadbury selection with the. So to describe this to you, it's like a stocking, and it's filled with all the Irish chocolate bars. Now they're not just Irish, but Crunchy, Whisper Gold, Caramel, Dairy Milk, Time Out, I think like a Freddo bar, Fudge, and Fuse, which I don't think we have anymore, but a classic. Thank you for painting that lovely picture, Mark. I can totally understand why you love the Kerry countryside.
Oh yes. Keith, tell me this out of that Christmas stocking that Mark posted there. If you were to pick one of those chocolate bars, which chocolate bar would you pick?
I'd have to pick one because I don't think it exists anymore that I used to adore, which was the Whisper Gold.
Oh really? Yeah, that's like a caramel whisper, is it?
Yeah, like it still has the chunk of the Whisper, which is a thin layer of actual real ass caramel on in there. What would you go for?
I'd go for a Dairy Milk, but if I was a kid, I loved fudge bars. Really, really tasty. Yeah, really, really tasty. That's
Crunchies.
I love that
well,
picture.
I was a big fan of. In fairness, I love Crunchies.
Yeah, me too. Actually, I really do love. To be honest, that they're all fairly solid bars. Do you remember having a few? I think a Fuse has like raisins and caramel kind of thing in it.
Fuck kind raisins like anyway. Moral. Raisins or peanuts deserve no place in my fucking chocolate bars. Did you hear me? You hear me?
What about
Do you hear me?
Almond
Don't
nuts.
you fucking open your mouth one more time and talk about fruit. And if you have a fruit and nut, get me a fucking apple. I just don't care at that point. Get me a fucking apple, knock me over the head with a bottle of whiskey, and fucking throw an apple at me. Because at that point, we're out of the fucking business of childhood, alright? Don't want no fruit nut in my life. Don't want no jelly Turkish delight bollocks either. I tell you now for nothing. These people who do not have not a taste in their fucking taste buds, no hope. Also, I do want to give a quick shout out.
Yes.
The next person that you'll be reading is Retro Matt. They're an amazing retro kick streamer.
Cool.
They were playing a Super Mario World Christmas ROM hack today, which is very cool.
What?
Yeah,
No
so
way.
it completely like extreme hard Super Mario World, completely Christmas themed, and was torturing on it. Also, they didn't write here today, but Probsty, someone who we met through kick streaming, has been binging the podcast for the last 2 weeks non-stop.
Fair
Has
play,
gone through
Probsty.
so many episodes. So
Brilliant.
thanks to the people who are over on the kick streams dropping all interest in the podcast. I really appreciate it.
That's cool, yeah, that's brilliant. Thanks very much, Propsty and Retro Matt. And Mark the Mill, hold on, I have to get a good name for Mark this time instead of just calling him a cunt, right? Are you ready for this? I'm gonna go for a Christmas one, right? You ready for this, Mark? Are you sitting there, Mark? Are you listening? Mark the Mill, you merry, magnificent, magical man. There, I'm gonna keep it nice and clean this time. Nice and clean, Mark. You merry, magnificent, magical man. Mark the Mill. Retro Matt wrote in and said that this fucking hell, I can't even start Matt's one. Retro Matt wrote in and said that this was in the early 90s during the age of layaways. I have no idea what my parents had gotten that Christmas, but everything they had set aside got lost by the store that Christmas. Oh no. Obviously the store reimbursed my parents, but it was the week of Christmas and the store didn't have much left by that point. But on that Christmas morning I ended up with a Sega Genesis with Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Oh my god. I was a huge Super Mario Bros. And Nintendo fan. My little kid brain never thought that they would be anything better than that, but there was something special about the Genesis and Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I remember playing it all day. I loved it. I ended up being a fan of Sonic the Hedgehog ever since.
I fucking love Sonic the Hedgehog. And let me fucking tell you, here's something Sonic all day. Kalinske taking over the head of Sega of America was a motherfucking genius, and his story is renowned and fabled as like he brought Sega from nothing to going toe to toe with Nintendo, who were dogs, and took over the market like no one's business. And this man came up more. I mean, he didn't design Sonic the Hedgehog, but let's be honest, he is the reason Sonic is famous. Okay, he took the original design, he Americanized it. He knew what he was doing with toys. He knew what he was doing with Barbie. He knew what he was doing with everything else.
Yes,
and turned Sonic into a goddamn household name.
He did.
And let's be honest, when it comes to Sonic 2 and the Genesis, aka the Sega Mega, peak fucking Sonic gaming, and I will argue that shit was better than Mario at the time. Not always, but at the time I'm going to say Sonic 2 is better than fucking Mario Bros. Suck my big fat tiny penis.
My big tiny. Great story, Retro Matt. What a great console and video game to have, and that's mad about. I can just imagine the stress, and I'm sure I'll be that person at some point, having a kid, of trying to find the gift your kids want. And like, imagine being all cool, going, it's grand, you know, we have it set aside, we have it booked away in the shop, we can go and pick it up whenever, and go, and they're like, we kind of lost your presents. So here's a Sega Mega.
I'd say it was probably some poor worker who got fired already anyway, and then like fucking someone else is taking the heat.
Yeah,
knowing, because I've worked in retail before where people are coming and say, where's my iPad that I ordered for Christmas? And I'm like, I don't know where it is.
Oh yeah.
And they're just like, fucking crazy shit.
Yeah, that's heavy stuff. Thanks, Retro Matt, and that was it. So thanks everybody for your glorious Christmas stories. That was really cool to read. The N64 being the big winner there, I think the really kind of impactful one. Hearing all the stories from everyone else is just, it's given me the warm fuzzies, man. I'm really, I don't know what it is about today, but I've finally felt it. The stars are brightly shining. So, on that note, you'll probably listen to this maybe the day before Christmas or Christmas Day or whenever you get to listen to this. Doesn't matter when it is. Thanks to everybody for listening to the podcast, for writing into the podcast. Any way you support the podcast. Me and Keith love you. Santa Claus loves you. Or whatever way you're celebrating this holiday season. Stay safe. Spend some quality time with family. And have a beautiful time.